Hello guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about how to trade gaps in the market. So once in a while, especially during weekends, we usually find gaps in the market. So you see the market gapping downwards or gapping upwards. So how do we trade gaps in the markets? For instance, in this market today, today is Monday, so yesterday was Sunday. So as the market opens today, we discover that there is a gap in the market. Let me show you if you can't see it directly. So I'm going to be using a slant line. So let me draw it. So this space here where I'm moving the trend line, you see that is a gap. So the market closed here, and it now opened down here. So there's a gap in the market. So now what the gap means is that there's a bearish momentum. So there's going to be a bearish momentum, which means that the market is going to sell today. But the way markets always move is that whenever there's a gap in the market will move upwards towards the gap to go and fill that gap. After it has filled the gap, before it will now continue its downwards movement. And if it's a gap upwards, then the market will move downwards to go and fill that gap. After filling the gap, before moving upwards. Do you understand what I just said? So if there's a gap upwards, that means there's a bullish momentum, which means the market is going to buy. But before it's to buy, it will go back, it will go to sell to go and fill that gap, depending on how long. Sometimes the gap can be 20 pips, 50 pips, 40 pips or more. So depending on the gap, so it will go back to fill that gap. So it depends on how long it took the market to fill that gap. It can be 4 hours, 8 hours, if at one day, depending on the market structure. So after filling that gap, it will now go back to its original bullish momentum. Do you understand what I just said? So it is very important we notice, and I need you to know that in every case there's always an exception. So when you hear that if somebody kills someone, the person will be killed in return, that is the law. But there's always an exception for except if you kill the person because you are defending yourself in the case of self-defense. So there's an exception. Except if you kill the person because you guys are in a mortal combat, maybe as a wrestler. Do you understand it? So if you're a wrestler and you come to fight with someone in the ring, or a boxer, then when in the course of fighting the other person died, then there's an exception. Or there's a war. So if you're a soldier, you go to war and you kill someone, there's an exception. You won't be sued for it. So every law, there's always an exception that except this happens. So once in a while, we find an exception whereby there is a gap and the market do not go back to fill that gap. But it's rare. But what I mean by it doesn't go back is that, like for instance now, this market now, there's a gap downwards. We expect the market to go back to fill that gap. So let's say instead of going back to fill the gap, it just continued with its downward movement and just kept going down, kept going down, kept going down. What will happen is it might take long, it might take 3 days, 1 week. It must come back to fill that gap. Do you understand it? But it's rare. Most of the time, it's within a couple of hours, it will go back to fill that gap and continue its bullish momentum. So that is why you see, based on that knowledge, in this particular trade now, even though I know that this is a bearish momentum, and you can see that there are two gaps. On Friday, there was one gap downwards here. Let me use a trend line to show you. So in this place, you see here, there's a gap here. So based on this gap, the market was supposed to sell, but it went upwards to fill the gap, and after filling the gap, it still went more upwards. But now we see another gap again, confirming this first gap. So which means this market is going to sell, but before it sells, it will go up to fill this gap. So we can see how it's going to play out today. So based on this knowledge, that was why. So I'm going to slant this the screen now. So that's why I entered a buy here. You see, I'm already 60 something pips upward, 60 something dollars upward, I beg your pardon. So that's why I entered a buy here, because this is just 3 pips upwards. So I just want to trade that gap upwards. So I'm going to exit this trade in a moment. Maybe after it makes like 10 pips, 15 pips, I'm going to exit the trade. Then I'll be expecting, so I'm going to slant it back again. So after I've followed that peep upward to fill this gap, then I'll now be waiting for an order block to form on the 4-hour. Let me go to the 4-hour. So I'll be waiting for an order block to form on the 4-hour to confirm my buyers. I'm expecting a sell. So until that bearish order block formed, in the previous module I've talked about how to identify order blocks. So when the bearish order block has formed, then it has confirmed that the market is going to sell. Then I'll place a pending order, not an instant order, a pending order. So we're going to talk about entry later on in subsequent videos. So I hope you understand that for now. I'll see you guys in the next video. So if you are still out there and you've not registered for the instant dollar course, this is how good it gets. You're missing out. Register for the instant dollar course, and within 1 week is a guarantee you will start earning in dollars. I'm telling you the truth. Now do your maths. If you earn $62 for 20 days, 22 days, that's over $1 million naira. Do the maths. Right now dollar is about 760. So in the forex market, based on the broker we use, the payout will be 745 or so. So 745 times $62 times 22 days, that's over $1 million naira. Do the maths. And right now, even if I want to exit this market right now, look at it. Let me show you how much it has made already. $100. So if I exit this market right now, I already have $100. But based on my knowledge of the market, I'm gonna wait for this market to fill that gap before I exit. So I'm expecting to make about $200 or $300 from this market today. This is the power of forex. If you have the knowledge, when people lose in forex market because you don't have the knowledge, or you're unable to control your emotions, or you're greedy, those are the things that can make you lose. Click the link in my bio, get into this course, and you'll start becoming profitable within 1 week. I guarantee you.